There you go. There's some things that I think about as long as I encounter so many criticism and so many harsh comments and so many evil comments on comment sections of social media that criticize others strictly for something bad based on uh, rules and laws on the internet. So I think this is a really bad tendency that we have to fix as soon as possible, as long as we use the internet. And I don't want to, I don't want everyone to misunderstand the essence that laws and rules are not the things that protect us from any evils. Laws and rules are not perfect that protect us from, uh, you know, injustice humiliates. So I think people who assume that laws and rules are perfect are really sinful. I think, the more important thing that we have to pay attention to when we use the internet is just having the feeling of tolerance to others. This is very important point of view. So, you know, laws and rules are not really not really perfect to protect us from any evil, as I said. So we have to cover the things that laws and rules cannot protect by the feeling of tolerance to others. So the this is the very important way of thinking when you use the internet. Then probably uh, you know you just start thinking about someone's circumstance first before you just comment on something on news medias. So I think the people tend to believe too much about rules and laws, and so, and especially Japanese people have the great tendency to uh, place absolute trust in laws and rules and blame the person for breaking rules and rules that are totally established on people's consensus and people's sense of value and people's common sense. If I said that, some people would say to me like, um, why don't you just stop watching the comment section when you watch the news media? But it can't be helped, because if I pursue more information that I'm looking for, I just naturally scroll down the screen and I I finally I finally find the comment section, and even comments in the comment section catch my eyes, and I really feel sad about this. So returning back to the story, therefore the comment sections of Japanese social media are likely to be chaos. So the Japanese people care too much about protecting social norms like uh, laws and rules, and they they tend to think that laws and rules are perfect, that protect us everything. And eh, as long as we keep and obey the laws and rules, there are no any troubles. And as as long as we obey the rules and laws, keep the rules and laws, um, we can't do anything. We can't do anything at all, even on the comment sections, and we can freely criticize someone for something that the majority of people can't tolerate. So I think that Japanese people really harsh to someone who belongs to minority. I don't know why, but the Japanese people just always tend to support the majority opinion, and Japanese people tend to exclude minority opinion, and Japanese people tend to assume that the minority opinion is really wrong opinion that has to be excluded from the opinion on the comment sections. I really feel really weird. So of course, keeping rules and keeping laws are really important things to be respected in order to maintain the equilibrium of people's rights and people's benefit fairly. But this is a really superficial thing. As I said, the justice of these things are really changeable depending on how people look at it. And so laws and rules are not perfect from the viewpoint that it will not protect us from any evils. Rather, there are some cases that laws turn to be one of the legal weapons to hurt someone socially. So laws are not that things that save individual from injustice, humiliation. So, condemning others with a superficial information based on laws and rules are really sinful and really bad things that we have to look back our thoughts and change our thoughts into the situation where we can find the feeling of tolerance to others. So this is very important things. So, but I don't understand why people condemn someone one-sidedly. Can't imagine the situation where the person suspected isn't disappear in isolation with misunderstanding from someone and with no one who trusts his or her mentions. So I think they lack the imagination to think about someone's circumstance first before suspect of someone. So before hoping for social sanction to the person suspected through the social media, it is way more important for us to think of someone's circumstance first. Just have the feeling of tolerance to others. So people's situation is not that easy things for people to judge based on the roles and rules. So because superficial information will not disclose the misunderstanding, false charges, and deception from others. And even laws and rules can't solve these problems. Even laws and rules will bring the false charges depending on the person who judge the situation. So if you were in the same situation as a person who is blamed for breaking rules and laws with superficial information which you don't even know the truth, how would you feel that? So personally, in my policy, if a person suspected is criminal for sure, as anyone can see, I will attempt to observe and understand his circumstance that has a room to sympathize. I always do that. Tolerance will save everything. Tolerance will save everything. This, the thoughts coming from tolerance is really important emotion that we have to have when we when we communicate with someone interactively, not only in a conversation, but only in not only for conversation, but for the internet. Tolerance is very important factors. So laws and rules makes a person look good or even bad, depending on how people look at it. So please remember that laws and rules are not really perfect that protect us from any evils, but sometimes laws and rules are to become weapons to hurt someone socially. So if you just criticize someone by taking advantage of rules and rules, you just stop it, and you're gonna have to think about deeply. About it, and you just make effort to have the tolerance to others as long as you use the internet. This is very important things.